From the back, guys. Come on. Bully. Hey. Eh? Say what? Eh? Yes. Yes. Hey. Hey. Hi, my kings and queens, right here on the stable. I mean the stable of life of an African woman. Yes, guys, we are back like we never left here. Thank you for the short intro. Tando, you are doing well. And guys, you might begin to wonder what's going on. This was a short clip of me trying to celebrate electricity in my house, but before the twinkle of an eye, it went off. It went off. So I just had to switch over. And guys, what do you think? This is one of my South African best songs that I decided to dance to. I can dance and sing this song all the rest of my life, right? And let me know your thoughts in the comment section. But back to business, man. Back to business. And you'll be like, why is she all hyped, guys? All work and no play make Jack a doll. Girl, make Vicky a doll. Girl. And we don't want to be dulling. No dull moment. Everything vibrant and enough and full of life and energy, right? Now, I've got something to show us right here on the spotlight of South Africa, what we have for the illegal foreigners. You know, we are still dealing with illegal foreigners, what they are up to, and what the government, the Home Affairs, the SARS are really keen on. You know, the illegal immigrants in South Africa. We know a lot of problems, hassles, burden that these people are causing in the country, South Africa, as well. We're going to take a flashlight also in Nigeria. Guys, a lot is going on in Nigeria that I've not been able to tell us, you know, of recent, and let it not seem as though you guys are not on the know. We are definitely going to take a look at this video. First of all, let's look at what is going on in northern part of Nigeria. Some call it Middle Belt, Plateau State. Yes, this is an incident that has been ongoing for probably a week now. Low, irrational, wicked, and dangerous minded individuals committing genocide. And these are the same people, surprisingly, who would say South Africans are xenophobic in nature. Like, make it make sense that in years past, we have never come to hear that South Africans rise up against themselves, eating themselves up this bad, that we're going to take a look at in Nigeria. And this is definitely what Nigerians are committing and perpetrating ruthlessly on their fellow Nigerians. If this is not man's inhumanity to man, I don't know what to call it. But guys, before we deliberate more on this, let's take a look at what is going on in the Middle Belt, northern part of Nigeria, Plateau State, all as a result of land dispute, just similar to something that recently transpired in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Yes, where South African army military troop had to step in, but it seems as though the government is enjoying it, or it's been sponsored as speculated allegedly. It is a gruesome, cruel, and evil act, and our heart goes out to the families and those involved. Let me know what you think after watching this video.
60 Christians have been murdered by Muslim Fulani terrorists in what is being called a genocide. Where is the global outrage? Well, Dumasani Washington, an expert on Christian persecution in Africa, joins us now. Dumasani, what can you tell us about this horrific event?
Raj, this seems to be the latest in a string of events that goes back years, but the Fulani, as you said, the Fulani herd, they are a herding tribe, predominantly Muslim. Not all, but predominantly Muslim. And even as the article points out, it does a really good job in the Christian Post there. The vast majority of them not radicalized, but many of them unfortunately are. And there have been these waves of attack for years. And the attacks have been along the lines of taking land. They're targeting predominantly Christian Nigerians. So they are slaughtering those people. They are doing all kinds of horrible, unspeakable things and then taking that land. And often it is dismissed within the Western media as land disputes, of course, those types of things. But it's really a religious war at its root.
Well, you sent me something that I want to read. Quote, what happened to the Israelis on October 7th, 2023 is happening every week in Africa. Can you explain that?
Well, it's amazing because that quote, and in the long run, that quote has been coming both from Africans and Israelis who are aware of their situations, right? So whether it's the Fulani in Boko Haram, bring back our girls, something like 11 years ago when they abducted nearly 300 girls, Christian girls, that Boko Haram is, again, a jihadist terrorist organization. What we see is that what happened on October the 7th when Hamas invaded Israel, killing some 1,300 or abducting 1,300 Israelis, that happens again every week, whether it's in Nigeria, places like Sudan, places like Algeria. Christians are under persecution today, Raj, like never before since the 2,000-year history of the church. And ground zero for many people is Nigeria.
Okay, so obviously I've known you for a while, Dumasani, and this is something that I personally I can vouch for. You've been speaking on this a lot, all the time, for more than a decade. But the question is, Dumasani, why does no one care?
It's such a multi-pronged answer, Raj. One of those is that, again, for us in the West, and especially the United States, we're comfortable, right? So media doesn't really discuss those types of things because it can be controversial, a religious war, a jihadist war. You get into the whole area of the kind of leftist Islamophobia. Somehow, if you say that, you're attacking Muslims. And of course, nothing could be further from the truth because, as you know, Raj, when that type of slaughtering happens regionally, Muslims also suffer. Christians, Jews, and other Muslims who are living peaceably, the jihadists don't really care about your religion, about what you're espousing is they're committed to a radicalized or very fundamental interpretation of Islam, which is either you convert or you die or you pay the jizya, which is the tax, right? So that's how they're approaching this. So because that whole topic can be somewhat uncomfortable for many Westerners, we generally leave it alone. And let me say this, even as a Christian pastor, even as you know, Raj, the Christian church often doesn't deal with it. Thank God for the Christian organizations and churches that do, but often because it can be controversial and it doesn't feel, I hate to be kind of warm and fuzzy, let's all kind of come together, they back up on it because you have to really deal with ugly things like mass rape and torture and genocide. And those things are really ugly. And most people, they don't really want to touch it. Unfortunately, our silence is actually fueling more of the genocide that's happening.
Let's bring you updates from Africa. Unidentified attackers have killed nearly 51 people in Nigeria's Plateau state. And this is according to a Red Cross source. This is the latest bout of violence in a religiously mixed region known for communal conflict and deadly land disputes. The attack took place in the villages of Zike and Zimakpa in the Bassa local government area. It comes less than 2 weeks after armed men struck multiple villages in the Bokos area, also in the Plateau state, killing at least 48. Land disputes, often between Muslim Fulani herders and mostly Christian farmers, they are prone to descend into deadly violence between the two factions, especially in rural areas where law enforcement is largely absent and impunity is widespread. The Plateau state government has condemned the killings in strong terms, calling them unprovoked. Though millions of Nigerians of different backgrounds live side by side, communal violence often flares into the Plateau state. As Africa's most populous country has continued to grow, so has the amount of land that farmers use, while grazing routes have come under stress from climate change. Land grabbing and political and economic tensions between local indigenes and those considered outsiders, as well as the influx of hardline Muslim and Christian preachers, have heightened divisions in recent decades.
Tragedy struck Plateau State again as gunmen attacked the Zike community in Bassa local government area, resulting in the death of at least 51 people, including children and the elderly. The assailants, believed to be Fulani herders, also looted and burned homes, leaving survivors traumatized and displaced. This comes barely 2 weeks after 52 persons were killed in some communities of the Bokos local government area of the North Central State. This incident is part of a long-standing conflict over land and water resources between herders and farmers in Nigeria's Middle Belt, a region already plagued by ethnic and religious tensions. As always, the incident elicited condemnation from various quarters, with President Tinubu denouncing the massacre and ordering the state government to put a stop to the senseless killings. Sadly, the situation in Plateau State almost seems irredeemable, as thousands have been killed in the endless violence between different ethnic groups in the state since.
Banja amin ba fa wanda yayi ido yana ganin hawayen mu Banja amin ba fa wanda yayi ido yana ganin hawayen mu
Assurance given by the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu that the attack that killed over 60 persons in Bokos weeks ago will be the last to be experienced in the state has been altered. Some leaders of the community and eyewitnesses narrated their ordeals.
They started shooting, they burnt houses, they macheted people, and as I speak, we have recovered about 51 dead bodies on ground. And then we are still searching. I will not say that is the end, but we are still searching on other corpses around the bushes.
One of the houses, 8 people were killed. And the whole family were massacred. The father, the mother, and the children, 8 of them. They are still in their room now. If you go there, you will see. So it is quite unfortunate that this thing is still reoccurring in this state and in this local government.
From last year, if I will give you the account of women that lost their husband, we have about 570 something women that Fulani people killed their husband. We have so many widows and orphans in this community. So we are tired. This thing enough is enough.
With the development.
Wow, this is heartbreaking, heart-wrenching. To think of the fact that something like this is happening in a country like Nigeria is definitely heartbreaking. And guys, that's why you see the only way most of us, or personally, I survive in this country is by giving myself absolute joy and happiness, because everything around me in the news, in reality, is bent on ruining my peace of mind, my sanity, and my happiness. And when I tune into the news, the radio stations, all I see are things that is going to leave me depressed, emotionally drained, and psychologically damaged. But I try as much as I can to put my sanity together, because this makes sense that this kind of act is going on in the country, Nigeria, and the president is wallowing about, flying everywhere, front, right, and center, without showing concerns. The leaders are busy doing their thing and minding their damn business, and that is where the question lies. What kind of a country is Nigeria, and what kind of a people and leaders we have in the country, Nigeria? No wonder most people will say it's a zoo country filled with animals moving in human forms. Because if this is not barbaric, if this is not demonic, if this is not, the worst and the highest state of man's inhumanity to man, I don't know what to call it. Like I said, my heart goes out to the family, the bereaved, and yes, it is quite a pity. It is quite a pity. Like I said, let's know your thoughts in the comment section. Now, moving on to South Africa, let's see what we have going on there, reporting from ANC. Let's hear them.
Compliance with South Africa's labor and immigration laws. Working with Deputy Minister of Home Affairs, Jebulon Zuza, a multidisciplinary high-impact blitz inspection in Mandeni local municipality, scores of foreign nationals were found hiding inside the factories and were taken in for processing.
Yeah, she's coming now.
You are a lot of people going for town.
No, we are not going. Listen. You said she's going to be here in just now, and we've been here for more than an hour, and now we are changing your story. We'll take you. Believe you me. We've got
because a lot of people taking me a lot of people. This one now obviously
we go and fetch it. Why you didn't go and fetch it? You should have sent somebody. I'm back on the
Thank you very much. The purpose of the visit today is to make sure that companies that are doing business in this country do comply with the laws of this country, in particular the labor laws and immigration laws in particular. So we have been to different companies here in University of Mandeni, and what we have found is appalling, I must say. The level of non-compliance is very high, and that's why we deliberately came here, because this is a targeted inspection work that we are doing, because we have heard quite a lot about how these companies are treating our people, how they are behaving in terms of paying our people regarding the minimum wage, the Basic Condition of Employment Act, and many other things. But what we have found, which is worse, is the number of illegal foreign immigrants that we have found in these companies. I've been to 2 companies right now. In the first company, it's the same stuff. Both of them, they operate the same, but I've heard that they come from the same big company. They are a chain of companies. We found that about 400 to 500 illegal foreign immigrants that are working here coming from Lesotho, and the number of South Africans that are working here are not paid as per the minimum wage. They are paid far below minimum wage, which is very sad because we set the standard of minimum wage because we wanted to protect the vulnerable workers who are at the bottom end of the labor market. But also they are not registered with UIF, they are not registered with compensation fund, meaning if you are not registered with UIF, if you lose your job, government can't be able to, UIF can't be able to pay you while you are still looking for the job or looking for work. But if you are not registered with compensation fund again, it means if you get injured, you won't be able to be paid by government. It ends there. So that is high level of non-compliance. But beyond that, issues of OHS, occupational health and safety, the manner these buildings are, the manner they are wiring, the electrical wiring. But on this one, we found that they've got a huge big boiler that is not registered, that is using coal, that is marked, not even marked. Another one on the other side, it's marked in Chinese. And the laws in this republic don't allow that. But there is a high level of non-compliance again when it comes to how these people are getting paid. They don't get pay slips, they don't get leave. So they work continuously without getting a leave. Even their lunchtime, their ablution facilities, the conditions are appalling. So we're dealing with that right now, and I can assure you that we are going to continue doing this work. We are going to make sure that we camp here in Wasitebe, not only Wasitebe, we're going to go to other places. Whether you talk about Newcastle, you talk about Gauteng, you talk about Eastern Cape and Northwest, quite a number of such companies we've heard about them, we've seen them. We are increasing our level of inspection and enforcement, working with the Department of Home Affairs, which is helping us quite a lot. The collaboration that we're having with SAPS is yielding results, and we're going to be very hard on them. If we have to close the company, we'll close the company down. We'll take even the owners of those companies because they do these things deliberately. They know that employing illegal foreigners is wrong and it's criminal. So we're going to do that and make sure that we clean South Africa. It must be cleaned. We must prioritize South Africans, especially on such jobs where you don't need specialized skills. The skills that are being used here, we've got abundance of them in South Africa. A number of our people have been working in textile industry.
Issue that continues to affect South Africa's economy, environment, and social fabric, the growing crisis of illegal mining. In a recent development, police in Limpopo arrested 20 suspected illegal immigrants believed to be linked to illicit mining activities across several districts in the province. This is just the latest chapter in a much larger national problem, and the implications run deep. These arrests were the result of a well-coordinated operation targeting illegal mining sites, which have mushroomed across mineral-rich areas in Limpopo. Authorities seized mining equipment and tools, exposing the organized and almost industrial scale of these operations. What's even more alarming is that many of the suspects are believed to be undocumented foreign nationals, some of whom may face charges not only for illegal mining but also for trespassing and violating immigration laws. Illegal mining, or what's locally known as Zoma Zoma activities, is not new in South Africa. But the frequency and intensity of these operations have surged dramatically in recent years. Why? Because of a toxic mix of abandoned mines, high unemployment, and weak enforcement. These illegal miners often risk their lives working in hazardous conditions, all in the hope of earning a living. But it's not just about survival. There's an entire underground economy built around illicit mining, often linked to organized crime syndicates that smuggle precious minerals out of the country. Let's be clear, the impact of this goes far beyond a few individuals digging in the dirt. The economic losses are staggering. The government and licensed mining companies lose billions in revenue every year. And we're not just talking about money. Illegal mining sites often degrade the land, pollute water sources, and destabilize entire communities. Some of these makeshift operations turn deadly, leading to tunnel collapses, toxic exposure, and even violent clashes with security forces or rival groups. The Limpopo operation underscores a serious shift in the way law enforcement is approaching the issue. It's no longer just about chasing miners underground, it's about disrupting the entire network, from those doing the digging to those financing and supplying the operations. And with the suspects expected to face multiple charges, including immigration violations, this bust may set a precedent for how future operations are conducted. But there's a bigger question here: what drives someone to risk their life in such dangerous work? Many of these undocumented migrants come from countries plagued by poverty, conflict, and corruption. When they cross into South Africa, legal employment is nearly impossible without proper documentation. The result? They turn to informal and often illegal sectors like mining to survive. This brings us to the intersection of immigration policy, law enforcement, and social inequality. The Home Affairs Department is now working to verify the nationalities of those arrested. For those found to be in the country unlawfully, deportation is likely. But deportation alone doesn't solve the problem. Experts argue that real solutions need to go beyond crackdowns and arrests.
Wow. Do you see what illegality and illegal foreigners are committing in the country South Africa? Did you see? Did you just see what I saw? Guys, it is bad a thing that South Africans have a lot of crises, like issues, challenges bothering them. Then adding this to it is the worst state of things. It's making things more difficult for them. It's like a fire is burning and you're adding fuel to it. And that is why you see that the Home Affairs, the SAPs are no longer, taking this as a funny situation. And when you look at it, all this illegal mining, breaking into factories, living there and doing all manner of menace, mayhem, is mostly by foreign nationals, including Nigerians. We have the Chinese. If you actually know what these whites are doing there, as much as African countries in South Africa, you will weep. I've got South Africans in the comment section tell me that they are tired, like they have really suffered in the hands of these illegal foreigners. And you actually think it's a joke. If you there support a thing like this, it means you are not a human, because at the end of the day, this is all shades of wrong. This is all shades of evil and crime, and they must face the law. That's why I scream and I shout out to each and every one of you. If you know you are an illegal foreigner in South Africa, do the needful by leaving before it gets too late or before they get to you. It doesn't matter whom you are. The way and manner you came in is the same way you'll be thrown out. So there is no mercy for illegal foreigners, right? And that is it for what we have for South Africa. It's quite unfortunate. My heart goes out to each and every one of you. And the more I see these things, it breaks and saddens my heart. At this point, I am free to say that I am in this fight with you guys. I solely stand with you guys by the special grace of God. And don't give up. Keep fighting, keep speaking up, and keep standing up. If these countries have decided and they are bent on destroying and ruining your country, we have to stand up and fight against it to say enough is enough. I am with you in spirit and in truth, even though I'm not physically present, but my voice always stand and count with you guys. From the depth of my heart, I want to say I love and appreciate each and every one of you, my kings and queens from South Africa, from all other parts of the African continent, who are living upright, who are standing up for what you know is right and just, defending and protecting the only country you have as your own. God will see you through as God will see us through in Nigeria. Based on what is currently trending for Nigeria, I am really disturbed. It's disturbing. And guys, that's why my safest place is coming out here to speak up, speak out, expose these things, and feel at home with you guys as brothers and sisters, as one family, right? United as one. If you don't want to unite with the rest of others, at least I'm here with you, right? Thank you so much. Thank you for all your love and support. At this point, if you're yet to like this video, I beg of you, kindly hit on the like button. This is coming from your sister, your girl, your own and only Tando, guys. You know I am always energetic, lively, and vibrant. In case you don't know, I do. It's just life occurrence and experience that wants to make me, go gaga most times, but we put it under control. Right now, tell me, what are your thoughts, your opinions, your input down there in the comment section, and let's have this conversation, right there in the comment section. Until then, I would say, do have a lovely, a blessed, a peaceful, a happy, and a successful day out there. Ciao, ciao.